Hello and welcome to Legally Speaking with me, Tarun. In the first episode, we discussed about how pendency of cases, or say about 3 crore cases which are pending in various courts of the country, can actually be disposed of quicker if we adopt mediation as a way of settlement. But that was just stating what the problem is and what is the solution, but how we actually go about doing it. Because India ranks 172nd when we talk of enforcement of contracts. So there is a long way to go when even basic thing like enforcement of contract is considered. Second, there are a lot of family cases which happen. How those family cases would be solved, we'll get to know in this episode of Legally Speaking. I've got Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, he's head School of Corporate Law, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. I've got Anurup Omkar, he's written a book on mediation. I've got Advocate Varuna Bhandari, she is a mediator at the Supreme Court of India, and our most esteemed guest is His Lordship Justice Arjan Kumar Sikri. And Justice Sikri is somebody who has got so many cases settled through mediation and is a pioneer of the subject in India. Sir, opening comments on how do we move ahead?
See, I think mediation has now taken its roots in this country. There's no doubt about it. Of course, this amendment was passed in 2002, but our first mediation center started in 2005. In 12 years, there is a lot of awareness also. Still, this has to be further told to the people, and many in business community and others may not be knowing about it. But it's slowly catching up. And therefore, the few steps which need to be taken at this stage are, first, as I said, awareness, so that people come to know, particularly business community, and so that they avail of this mediation, and where the mediation is possible. Now, in court annexed mediation, almost all courts are having their mediation centers, which even the Third Finance Commission really supported it and gave funds to all the districts for setting up of what we call ADR center, alternate dispute resolution center.
So every district court in the country?
Every district court has, and the funds were given, and all have, and the how the building should be structured and constructed, that was also told.
I would want you to appeal to the millions of our viewers who are watching. Do they have an option that they go to their lawyer and say, I want to go in for mediation, I don't want to go in for litigation?
Yes. So yes, actually, as I said, court annexed mediation is there where the even the now in courts, when a matter is filed, the literature is provided. Judge tells the parties that you can go for mediation. When a plaintiff, suppose, files a suit and the summons go to the other side, along with that there would be a pamphlet. Mediation facilities are provided in this center to create this awareness. Second thing which we need is that we have to have very good trained mediators of established reputation, because good mediator is the backbone.
Yes.
And he is not a judge or she is not a judge. So in the beginning, when the parties do not know what mediation process is, having faith and trust in that person, for that high credibility is required. We have some mediators, of course many, and these are the mediation success stories. If they go around and suppose she has done 10-20 matters where she was successful, but people, yes, it would go only by the word of mouth. Those whose cases she would have settled, they will tell around, they'll go, oh, she is very good mediator and all that. But then otherwise, these are not the cases which are published or which are like judgments. So therefore, people may not come to know what is her performance, what is his performance, or what is the performance of any other mediator.
One thing that I am curious about at this juncture is there are 600 districts in India. Do you see all these district courts advocating mediation as a form of settlement? Because as Anurup had highlighted recently that in Europe it is almost mandatory for pre-litigation mediation. So before litigation you have to go in for. Do you see that happening in India, or sir you think it is more of staggered?
Although pre-litigation mediation is lesser as of today, because it is more court annexed mediation where the case is already filed and then it is sent for mediation. But pre-litigation mediation is also catching up. And there's another interesting phenomena which is developed is that even the cases which are before arbitrators.
Yes.
And in many contracts, and which is at least should be known to the business world, that when everybody knows if the dispute is there, instead of going to this court, we will have arbitration clause. We'll go for arbitration.
And business has got so many disputes
Yes,
currently in India.
exactly.
So, but what happens is, in many cases that we see, there is a dispute between a company in India and a company in UK, a company in India, company in Japan, company in India, company in Australia. They go in for arbitration, they never agree, the cases linger on and time is wasted. Do these companies have an option of going
Yes,
for mediation?
now that is what I was coming to.
Yes.
Most of these institutions, because whenever these are called, we call international arbitration disputes.
Yes.
So they are settled through Singapore International Arbitration, this arbitration center, or LCIA London Center, ICC Paris,
Yes.
etc. But all these institutions now are having mediation as well.
Okay.
Most of the time we call it, which is now again becoming popular,
Yes.
is MEDARP.
Okay,
That is first mediation.
Yes.
You resort to mediation. Even when the parties go there,
Yes.
that's first let us try mediation. If mediation fails, then arbitration.
But one point I want to ask
and
you,
sometimes med are med.
Med.
So even sometimes mediation fails, matter comes to arbitration. When it is going on arbitration, at that stage they realize, no, why not settle through mediation? It is again sent to
So this is
mediation.
an established practice.
This is now established practice.
So I want to ask
Even
you,
between countries, I tell you one thing more.
Yes.
We have bilateral investment treaties,
Yes.
where the dispute arise between where one, party may be country,
Yes.
from where so there these disputes are settled through arbitration, and there is another body for it.
Yes.
They are now also of late.
Yes.
They have realized this, that if we have to sustain
Yes.
even the arbitration, because there's some, because of certain disputes, the way they were settled, arbitrated,
Yes.
so there's some question mark, some countries are not happy. But therefore, in order to overcome this, they have also now compulsorily introduced mediation.
Sir,
into
I
it.
want-
France is one of them.
What about France?
France has done that for any international investment treaty where they sign, they first will resort to mediation and then arbitration.
So you European Union as a whole, or only France? Because
European Union as a whole has made mediation as a mandatory practice in a certain value of matter.
Okay.
But France made it mandatory for any international investment treaty which they sign with a foreign country, first to try out mediation and then
that's a good
arbitration.
point. I would go across to Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh. Sir, if you could share with us the emerging fields in which mediation use is being increased, or mediation as a practice.
I think mediation is catching up, and we can find this in the recent statutes which are come up, and one of them is Companies Act, which I already mentioned in the last episode.
Yes.
Two other areas which have come up in which mediation is referred is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, if we see.
Yes.
So insolvency proceedings are being tried up by way of a mediation. So if insolvency basically is a process wherein you resolve the exit of a company,
Yes.
and in that particular process mediators can be very helpful, because therein there will be a lot of conflict,
Yes.
because a new person will be going, insolvency professional, taking over the company and then running it.
Yes.
So that mediation exercise will be very helpful there. And in fact, in the Information Utilities Regulation, they have mentioned this aspect as one of the grievance redressal mechanisms. In consumer protection, definitely it is yes, and if we can find that in the...
So you mean this will cover almost 360 aspects? For some criminal cases, almost all cases can be settled.
In civil, definitely,
In
yes.
civil, definitely.
Definitely.
I'm going across to
And-
Aruna Bhandari at this point. Ma'am, Justice Sikri just mentioned about, how now even when summons are sent, you have an option of mediation. But do you see judges? Now, I'm not talking of the High Court or the Supreme Court, because sir says that their judges encourage mediation. At the district court level, do you see judges actively promoting mediation, or do you see that there is where the improvement needs to happen? Wherein, because India is an illiterate, a lot of people are not legally known to even read their summons, that this is a what you can say, a paper which says you can go in for mediation. Do you think judges have a duty wherein which these judicial officers in 600 districts should push it?
Yes, in all these district courts, the matters are being pushed for mediation. They have a dedicated mediation cell and mediators.
Yes.
And any matter which has a component of settlement, it is mandatorily sent for mediation. And judges really encourage the
But
parties.
do you think there is where it varies by state to state? Do you think it in Maharashtra it will be great, in Haryana it will be good, but not so much good in MP? Because India is such a huge country, attitudes differ for various initiatives.
See, area-wise, there might be
Might be some.
there might be some distinction, but what my experience has been is we get matters from all over the country in Supreme Court, and all these matters are referred from the district court.
Anurup, you are somebody who actually does a bit of mediation at the district court level. Do you see education or people are keen
See,
to...
Tarun, it's more about EQ and the IQ test.
Yes.
Mediation involves a little bit more of EQ rather than IQ.
But also education?
Education is required, but again, you know, as sir rightly pointed out, it will take a little bit of time. We need to create lot many awareness. We need to train judges also in mediation, which
let
happens
me
in
add
US.
here,
Yes.
and from my experience, because
Yes.
when I was acting Chief Justice in Delhi High Court,
Yes.
I told you about court annexed mediation.
Yes.
Court annexed mediation means where judge sends.
Yes.
So there it depends on how much, it's a very valid question which you ask,
Yes.
how much interest judge has.
Yes.
Because there are certain judges who may think mediation is nothing and all that, we have to decide ourselves.
Yes.
They may have that kind of psyche.
But it's a
They
very
may
valid
not.
point you're raising,
They-
sir.
Yeah, they may not. But
Yes.
there are other judges who are very sensitive, and they know the advantage of mediation, they know what mediation is.
Yes.
So therefore they will send. But when the judge refers the case for mediation,
Yes.
there also some art is required.
Exactly.
Whether a particular case is fit for mediation, it should be sent at this stage. Which kind of case I should refer, at what stage I should refer,
So
all
there's
this.
so many parameters.
So therefore training of judges is also required,
Yes.
which we give.
So is the higher judiciary
That's
in
what
the
I was
country
saying.
leading
When
the
I was
charge?
acting Chief Justice in Delhi High Court,
Yes.
we ensured that every judicial officer in district court gets the training in mediation. We call it referral training.
Yes.
That what kind of, because it's not only matters to be referred. When the matter is referred, what kind of order is to be
So, but I
passed?
would want to know from you this, because you were heading a certain, what you can say, bench in a certain state. Is the case same across all states? from here?
Yeah, most of the, I mean, at the High Court level, the attempt is made to
Yes.
give the training to judicial officers on referrals.
Okay.
But then it varies, as you rightly said, it varies from state to state.
Now we'll take a break at this stage, and after the break we've discussed about a lot of commercial cases that can be settled through mediation, and the pendency can come down, cases can be settled faster. But now we'll discuss about personal matters, family matters, dowry cases, so many other cases involving family issues. Can they be settled through mediation just as fast? Join us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now we discuss, can personal and family cases be settled through mediation just as effectively? Justice Sikri, sir, could you share some example where even cases involving family can be settled through mediation?
I start with the very interesting case which we came across.
Yes.
And I'll try to tell you in briefest possible manner.
Yes.
This was a case, you may have heard of a very great author and
Yes.
painter, Mr. Vijayan. He
Yes.
was from Kerala. After his death, the government of Kerala decided to give a state funeral.
Yes.
At that time, his son was not available. Immediately, I think he was in US or somewhere, and his wife was also ailing. Only son was. So, younger brother
Yes.
performed last rites. But during their lifetime, in last few years, this relationship between him and his younger brother was not very good.
Yes.
But still, younger brother performed last rites. Thereafter, dispute arose who would immerse the ashes.
Yes.
Younger brother said that since I had performed the last rites and I had given pyre at the funeral, so I have the right.
Yes.
By the time son had come and he says, I am a son,
Yes.
so I have the right. This case came before the court. And it came before me.
Yes.
I was in the High Court judge.
Yes.
I mean, such a kind of matter which I think again won't come.
Yes.
And anyway, both the parties were charged up. They wanted to, who has to immerse ashes, both were claiming
Yes.
rights. And of course, to cut it short, I decided ultimately, after going through all religious scriptures,
Yes.
etc., and I was thinking I have given a beautiful judgment
Yes.
where I decided that the person who performs last rites has a right to immerse.
Yes.
So therefore, brother has right. You can't deprive him.
Yes.
But since son is also, of course, he has some rights, so they both can go together and immerse the
Yes.
ashes. They went in appeal. Son
Yes.
went in appeal. and son and the widow, they had, and at that stage the division bench of the High Court referred the matter for mediation.
Yes.
And to tell you that what happened when they came before mediation, the mediator, I tell you, mediator has to be a good psychologist also.
Yes.
Here that lady mediator who did it, she came to know that yes, they had, although they for last 15-20 years they were not on speaking terms, but then nephew and uncle, at the, when this he was a child, so he was quite pally with his uncle, and uncle used to take care. So she started reminding them of those days, and ultimately they realized why they are fighting, and they settled. There were tears in their eyes, they were hugging each other, and what I gave as a judgment, they agreed, we'll both go and immerse. But what is the difference? It's not my judgment. My judgment could not have re-established the relationship which mediation did.
So this is a beautiful example of how emotions also come.
Ultimately, suppose that my judgment would have been upheld. Both would have gone together, immersed, but then
no relationship
parted
would have-
ways. But now re-established relationship, and
So
they must-
sir, do you see that in family cases,
this is
a
what
huge
mediation can achieve.
Huge applicability then in family cases?
Yes, in family case. I give you in one sentence one very interesting example. Here was a case where dispute between husband and wife, divorce had taken place, and dispute was about the alimony or the maintenance, etc. At that stage it was sent for mediation. Can you think what could be the result? How much settlement for maintenance? 1 lakh, 2 lakhs per month, or 50,000 or 20,000? No. In mediation, what was achieved? They realized their mistake, why they took divorce, and they married again.
Oh my God! This is indeed surprising.
So that's why I said mediation can achieve miracles.
This is, of course, indeed, when you spoke of divorced couples marrying again, this is indeed a miracle. I'll go across to Varuna Bhandari. Ma'am, Global Conference is happening next week in Chandigarh, India chapter. Do you think this will do more to push mediation as a form of settlement? Because conferences are also for awareness of people. Do you see this happening with this conference happening in India?
Yes, the beauty of this conference is that all the 5 stakeholders participate, and any organization who is wanting to do business with India will know that how to approach the dispute settlement mechanism. So I think mediation, like talking of mediation in this GPC, will definitely promote a lot of business here, and encourage companies to encourage companies.
Do you concur that this will happen through the conference, or much more efforts will be needed in terms of grassroots education? Because you've written a book on the subject, I thought I should ask you.
Grassroots level education is important. Like, sorry, but I am being candid about it. In the finest law school, we are taught first to moot. We are first taught to argue. We have to be first taught to find solution and resolve disputes, not to argue.
Okay, that's an interesting point made by Anurag. I'm going across to Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh. Sir, I would want to ask you, since Justice Sikri spoke that, it would vary from district to district and High Court to High Court, the extent of adoption of mediation. Do you think that is an issue here, that some states may excel, like in India, some state is at number 1, some is at number 20. That would also be the case as in ease of doing business also in mediation.
Definitely that disparity is going to happen, and it depends upon the culture of the state, because we are a multicultural country, and some states are dispute prone, some states are not, because that statistics shows. So that actually gives you the background that how the disputes are settled in different states. So that is definitely going to happen, but there has to be some common thread, which I believe through GPC will be achieved, because
will be achieved for the Global Pound Conference.
In the sense that there will be different stakeholders giving their opinion, and on the basis of those stakeholders, you will actually strike the right chord and find out that where the problem lies.
And there is a live voting out there. This is one of those conferences where there is voting on issues. And
I'm going across to Justice Sikri now, sir. What role of media do you see in propagating the role of mediation, when you also say that 94% of cases in the United States of America go in for mediation?
See, when we talk of awareness, media can play a very significant role. And I thank you also, congratulate you also for organizing this program. But this is also in a way awareness program. Those who are watching this program and all those viewers would at least have some idea of what mediation is.
Yes.
And if not the entire idea, so they will at least be now curious to
So
know
they'll at
more
least go and
about
ask.
it. Yes.
They go and
yes,
ask the lawyer.
exactly. So therefore, media can play a tremendous role.
Sir, I want to ask you and take the opportunity. Recently, the Supreme Court say that they are worried about the pendency at the High Courts. 40 lakh is the pendency. Allahabad High Court has got 9.5 lakhs alone. Do you think is now responsibility of the higher judiciary to push in for mediation? Do you see
Yes.
that happening, or do you think there is a long way to
No,
go?
it is, you see, it is happening. It is always like we have National Legal Services Authority.
Yes.
So whenever their meetings take place, where the state legal service authority executive chairmen and others, they come.
Yes.
They always, this is discussed, how to spread mediation, what measures can be taken.
Now, I want to ask you, Varuna Bhandari wanted to come in for a moment. Yes.
Yeah, I very recently judged moot mediation.
Yes. Moot mediation in a college.
Yes, in a college.
Yes.
So now all these NLUs, they are having a mediation as a subject.
So they are also
having a client counseling and mediation
Okay.
as
It has started in
a subject.
So colleges started as a
Yeah,
Lurid
yes,
mentioned.
yes,
It
Many
has to take
colleges now there are diploma programs.
in mediation.
Yes, in
So even
mediation.
LLB, people who have done their law do these courses.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
And
And just to add to Sir's point, as you asked about the higher judiciary, Supreme Court has a MCPC guidelines which is completely clear about mediation.
Mediation,
The only thing
yes.
is that people don't visit the website to find out what are the mediation guidelines.
No, but
in the
sir,
country.
are you happy with the role the community of advocates are doing or with as far as mediation is concerned?
see, yes, as I told you, acceptability is there now,
Yes.
which was not there 10 years ago.
Yes.
Good thing is that advocates are positive about it,
Yes.
and they themselves volunteer that yes, it should be sent for mediation.
But I would-
But at the same time, not when the matter comes to the court. They should tell, even when a litigant goes to him, in the first instance, they should tell them what is, and there is a mediation.
Yes.
And I will say that
So
yes,
but-
they have performed their role, ethical role.
So, but
on-
when it comes from somebody like you, I think the millions of viewers who are going to watch you speaking
so
would know
rather,
that.
this is my request to lawyers who are listening
So,
to
but
this
what is
program,
your
that
message?
please-
I would request you to state to the millions of viewers who are going to watch you, what kind of cases can be settled through mediation? If you could lay down and say about 10 points, if you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, this case. So one is check bounce. In simple terms.
Check bounce is there, family dispute between husband and wife,
Yes.
dispute between, say, family dispute on properties, etc., between brothers,
Yes.
brother and, son and daughter, or
The family,
father
yes.
and family disputes,
Yes.
commercial disputes, all
Yes.
kinds of
Yeah.
check bouncing disputes are there.
Intellectual property
Intellectual
rights.
property
Right.
matters. I mean, we are not going to the nuances of that.
Yes.
Even income tax disputes can be settled. I am of
Income tax
yes,
disputes?
even those can be settled.
Partnerships.
All partnership disputes can be
Trademarks I'm
settled.
doing
I
in
think,
Supreme Court.
except as I said, almost all have the element of settlement.
But
all
sir, you
disputes.
raise a very important, even income tax can be settled.
Yes, it can be, and it is happening in other countries.
So do you think the income
It has
tax
not take-
department is playing
Yes.
a role in?
No, but, so far it has not.
Okay.
So far it has not. But
Yeah.
if they are also, therefore the awareness, not only awareness, this sensitivity,
Yes.
and if they understand what mediation
So
is.
for the benefit of our viewers, Justice Sikri has told us that even income tax disputes can be solved through mediation. We just about don't know what role the income tax department is playing on this issue. Is it really encouraging it? Is something, sir, that we would
Yes.
want to know from you, or any appeal from you on that front, that do you see the department playing an active
No,
role in the
actually it can be. I only remember one case when I was Chief Justice in Punjab and High Court came to me.
Yes.
Where it was some government undertaking only
Yes.
from Chandigarh, Housing Board and the Income Tax Department,
Yes.
where I requested that it should go for mediation.
Yes.
And I said that since I am also myself a trained mediator, I can tell you also how it can be settled.
Yes.
But first response of the government advocate who
Yes.
was representing the Income Tax Department was, after taking instruction, they don't want.
Yes.
And anyway, I then fixed it for argument. I came to Delhi, Supreme Court, but I was told ultimately that was settled.
Okay.
So that is good indicator. I don't know how it was settled.
Yes.
But one message which I gave at the end
Yes.
to everybody,
Yes.
it's not only areas.
Yes.
Even if you see the mediation as a system,
Yes.
it is in many respects, it is the best form of access to justice.
Yes.
it makes all stakeholders better human being if you know the nuances of mediation. As I gave the example, among parties relationships are re-established, and many times strangers, when they dispute, they develop new relationships. A lawyer who are appearing before, they are thereafter their outlook changes, even in those cases when they argue before the court. And the judges, when they send, or they do many times at many places at district court level, judges also do mediation. I am of the firm view that the judges, they become better judges after they know what mediation is. So it's a win-win situation, not only in a case, it is a win-win situation for entire society.
On that note, and a note which actually has good news for India as a whole, I would like to thank Advocate Varuna Bhandari, Anurup Omkar, Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, and your Lordship for taking out time and sparing time for telling the people of India and letting them know that they have an alternative dispute resolution that can help them solve cases faster. So the viewers who have seen Legally Speaking this episode now know that they have an alternative dispute mechanism for almost all cases, right from check bounce cases to dowry cases to divorce cases to commercial disputes, of using mediation as a form of settlement. Thank you so much for watching our show. Thank you.